Hey everybody, Sean here with Marlon, and we needed some time to think about this. We saw The Last Jedi recently, and we have a lot to say. This movie has been a very divisive film amongst fans in the Star Wars community, and some are really into it, and some fans passionately hate The Last Jedi because of some of the decisions made in this film, and what it does for the whole Star Wars universe and how it changes things drastically. So, without wasting any more time, let's get into The Last Jedi. Now, Marlon, what do you think of The Last Jedi? Because for me personally, I left the theater and I was just like, there's some stuff I really liked. I liked the acting, I liked the action sequences, and the way it's shot. Like, this is the best looking Star Wars movie. It even looks nicer than Rogue One. However, what it does to the series as a whole pissed me off more than any Star Wars movie in history. They destroyed Luke Skywalker's character. They fundamentally took everything that made him a special and heroic person in the original trilogy and just took a big shit on him. Like, oh my god, how do you fuck up Luke Skywalker so badly? They took one of the most hopeful and heroic characters, one of the greatest heroes in cinema history, and they just pulled down their pants and just fucked his character over. That's what Disney did. It's abysmal. Like, this isn't Luke Skywalker. This is not how he should be. It's unforgivable. Like, I left that theater so angry, and I flipped off the screen. I'm like, fuck you, movie, after what they did to Luke. Full spoilers ahead, by the way. So, yeah, it just pissed me off. I mean, it's been a few weeks since the movie came out, so I've kind of, like, calmed down a bit, but initially, after seeing the movie, I was super mixed, and then, like, the more I kept thinking about it, the angrier and angrier and angrier I got, and it just sat with me. It just wouldn't go away. And we're going to go over, like, the whole fucking movie and talk about why I think The Last Jedi is awful. I'm not sure what he thinks. Do you like it or do you hate it?
I hate this movie, Sean.
Oh, you do? Oh. Didn't see that one coming. Actually, I did, but...
I mean, I enjoyed it, like, watching it. I mean, you can go to this movie and watch it, but, I don't, to me, this was like Attack of the Clones level of bad. Because, okay, Attack of the Clones, I found it boring. I found, like, the love. I thought it was, like, too much. Like, there was too much happening on screen. There was too much emphasis in the love story. There was, I did like Obi-Wan, trying to find Jango Fett. I liked all of that. But some of it pays off when Anakin finds his mom and all that kind of stuff in Episode 2. But my experience, see, I think the prequels are actually more enjoyable because I saw Episode 1 as a kid, and to some extent I still find it entertaining. There are some pretty boring scenes in there. Episode 2, same situation. I think Episode 2, though, sets up Episode 3 a little bit better, but you don't even really need to see 1 and 2 to understand 3.
You really don't.
You don't. Like, Episode 3 is pretty cool, but this is in the bottom of the... I mean, Force Awakens, for all that it took from the original Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, because it did take elements from those movies.
It literally is a remake of A New Hope. Like, when I left that theater,
I wouldn't go as far to say that.
So many things, like,
I wouldn't go as far to say everything, because
not everything,
but there's a lot. There's
like
a lot
70% of the movie.
There's a lot of Empire in there too, though, with the reveal that that's Empire Strikes Back. Like there's got to be some kind of twist with Han Solo. That confrontation. That's the same, setup with that bridge where there's a big abyss below. That's the same setup, like, so I'm not going to just say, oh, it's a blatant remake, but they're basically just rehashing the original trilogy, and I feel the same way about The Last Jedi. It's like, it's a rehash. Like, they rehashed so much from Empire, and they rehashed so much from Jedi, except they just sort of mashed them together, and, you got this, and everything they did was wrong, because this is a continuation.
All the interesting stuff set up from The Force Awakens just
everything that at least Force Awakens is a lot of people complain about. At least there's a lot of new elements, like the Knights of Ren.
Not just thrown away in this movie.
Supposedly, like
Supreme Leader Snoke.
Completely
thrown away.
Yeah,
useless.
Because they built him up in. And people will say, well, we didn't know who the Emperor was. Well, the Emperor was just the Emperor. Like in original Star Wars, they just mentioned, they just mentioned the Emperor. Like they just mentioned how will the Empire maintain control of the galaxy when they're all arguing. Same thing with
Empire Strikes Back.
They just talk about the Emperor.
You see him too.
And finally,
whether you watch the original version or the special edition,
you just see the hologram. But again, it's not like built up. He's just this kind of mysterious. He's the guy who runs the show, but we don't really see him. Finally, in Return of the Jedi, they do kind of hype him up a little bit, and it does pay off. Like when Vader's like, the Emperor is going to come and see the Death Star. And then the commander's like, he's coming here, and he's like, and then Vader even again they kind of build him up like, oh, the Emperor isn't forgiving as I am, and it's like, oh shit, like,
we know how ruthless Darth Vader is.
And then the Emperor shows up, and he's pretty scary, but
then we find out more about him eventually in the prequels.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
then,
they built him up to be like he had a title. He was the Emperor. He was the ruler. He was the king. When he was this evil wizard, you know what I mean? Like the Wizard of Oz. They built up the Wizard of Oz, and then we see the great powerful Oz, and then it's just a guy in the thing. But this they talk about Snoke as if he's this, oh, it was Snoke. He's the one who got our son twisted. It was him, and we just only see him talking through a hologram.
And he looks like 80 feet tall.
I don't know why the hologram had to be that big. They were just ripping off The Empire Strikes Back, a big. But even so.
Your father, Han
Solo. But even so, in Empire, all it was Vader and then just the face of the Emperor. Mm-hmm. It was literally the whole chair, his whole body, his entire figure, and it didn't.
And it looked like shit too.
It didn't look that good, and
it sucks too because Andy Serkis is one hell of an actor. Like
it's like they all got paid to promote their characters. Like even Gwendolyn, whatever her name is, who plays Phasma.
Oh yeah, useless character.
Oh, Captain Phasma is so amazing, and then we see her. It's like they all got paid to like just. It's almost like all the actors and Disney is so smart at this. This is even better how they even do a better job at brainwashing the fans this way by making the actors fans. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I'm so excited to be. I've always wanted to be in a Star Wars movie ever since I was 12. I think there's only 3 people who actually genuinely want to be in a Star Wars movie. I think that's John Boyega.
John Boyega for sure.
He definitely for sure is loves every moment of this. Daisy Ridley is having a really good time. I think and then Gareth Edwards for sure.
Yeah, Gareth Edwards is he made himself the savior of Star Wars.
J.J. Abrams, I think...
He definitely likes Star Wars.
He definitely likes Star Wars, but again, he's just such a fan of the old ones. He's just rehashing them, and I think...
I don't know how he's going to...
Again, when every fan said we want the sequel trilogy to be like the original trilogy, I think people meant that they just wanted the banter, the fun dialogue. They didn't want it to be all space opera and dramatic like Episode 2 was. Like, I truly, deeply love you, Anakin. And it was so, but Anakin's story was a tragic story, so in a way it does work. It's just not communicated very well. The problem with especially Last Jedi, like Force Awakens, I could pretty much let it go for being a soft reboot. But again, I still had fun with it. I still there was at least emotion in Force Awakens, regardless of how you feel about it.
At least the characters were
likable.
Yeah,
somewhat. I don't know. At least they all aren't stupid, and when they make dumb decisions, they literally say I don't know, or when a character does something that's a bit selfish, they'll admit, I'm just here to do this, and it's like Finn, I'm just here to get Rey, and Han Solo's all everybody's counting on us. This movie takes that arc that Finn had and throws it out the window.
Finn is completely wasted.
Well, as soon as the movie starts, what does he do? He goes to the escape pod to try and find Rey.
Yeah. And then what happens? He gets zapped, and then he gets
by
Rose.
It would have been a lot. Oh my god! And how come she? I don't know. There's so many.
All right, let's start the very beginning of this movie.
Well, I just want to finish off why I don't like it, because the message they communicate is the wrong message. It communicates just fine. It just communicates everything is wrong about this movie. When the prequels, what they were telling you was right. They just told you it in the worst way they could. And again, when people said they wanted these movies to be like the originals, they just meant
wanted to be
CGI, actual people in the movie in costumes or whatever, and if they have to use CGI, then do it. That's all the people want. Not literally remake or rehash elements of the original trilogy, because was there really any major twists in the prequels? There really weren't. You pretty much knew what you were getting. They're trying to give you twists and turns, and they set up. Let's start like you said in the beginning. Finn, he is gonna leave when he just had the arc about standing up for himself with the lightsaber, and he's gonna fight off. He had his own moment there, and we don't even know. Rey kisses him and says, "We'll see each other again, I promise." And Finn gets. There's no scene where Finn is even recovering. Oh, where is she? Oh, okay, so she's safe. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll see her. What could I do while I'm here? Well, do you know where she is? Nobody knows where she is. She took the map and went to find Luke. And
which, by the way, why wouldn't they replicate that map so Leia
the opening scene is so ridiculous because they're all escaping the planet that they were hiding out on.
Can we just cover the whole movie?
Let's start right here.
All right, so at the beginning of the movie, you get your typical Star Wars text, which we didn't see in Rogue One. Which, by the way, before I go on, I really enjoyed Rogue One. The two leads were pretty boring, but I have a great supporting cast, really strong visuals, director Krennic's an entertaining villain, and I felt more emotionally invested, and it kind of had this bit of grittiness to it, like a war movie.
Yeah.
And Rogue One I thought was pretty cool, and that third act was really strong.
The only problem is, like you said, it wouldn't be powerful if you didn't see the original Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't, it's cool how it leads in.
If you never saw a Star Wars movie and just watched Rogue One,
you wouldn't really feel much. You're like, why is this movie special?
It's kind of a fan-made movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Which again,
Gareth Edwards loved Star Wars. That's what made him want to be a filmmaker. So
they got it. I mean, I don't know. But this new one, the opening battle scene
is ridiculous.
Well, it is because they're like, oh my god, it's a dreadnought. It's a dreadnought, and Poe shows up in his X-wing.
He's taking it all off, taking the whole ship on by himself. He's taking out their big guns or whatever.
And they try to play it smart, oh, well, the closer he gets to the guns, they can't hit him. So then they send in the little TIE fighters, and then it's time to bring in the bombers. The bombers are so weak.
Okay, here's the thing: gravity. Can we the bomb is there's no propulsion system with these bombs to take out these big Star Destroyers.
At least in Star Wars, the Empire Strikes Back, when the TIE bombers were bombing the asteroids, they were blue laser bombs.
Yeah, and that thing has its own little gravity.
You think that it has its own little laser that shoots. At least it's trying to be. It doesn't make any sense, and the doors just open somehow.
And then they just drop them. Why aren't they floating in space? Because a scene later, Princess Leia is floating in space like fucking Superman.
One last thing I want to say about the bomber scene. There's all the drama's taking out of it when Poe calls Hux and is messing with him and makes it your mom joke. I mean, what is this, a Marvel movie where they're, you know what I mean? You're taking away all the tension between the villain and.
To be fair, General Hux.
He's pretty silly, yeah.
He makes me laugh. General Hux looks kind of like Lars from Heavyweights. Go ahead and Google it. But General Hux, he is the kid who got beat up in school and got his lunch money taken away from him, who somehow came into power. That's General Hux. Whenever I see him on screen, I immediately start to laugh this guy's such a dweeb. How did he get in power? Everybody just kicks the shit out of this guy.
And it's
Kylo Ren kicks the shit out of him. Snoke kicks the shit out of him.
Another way they could use Captain Phasma is if Phasma and Hux are maybe more collaborating the military side of things. Hux should honestly. Are they trying to make him a new Tarkin? I don't know what they're doing with Hux.
Hux is just he's a dweeb.
Remember there was an admiral in Empire and Jedi that Vader promotes, and all he does is just tells him what to do. And all he does is yes, my lord, and he just does what he's told. Really, Hux should just be something like that. Maybe he makes a few own decisions, but again, this opening scene is kind of ridiculous. But I kind of let a lot of it slide. I'm like, whatever, it's a Star Wars movie. I mean, if I'm going to question all this, you're not going to have any fun with this. But again, one TIE fighter has a freak accident, crashes into 3 of them, and then 3 of the bombers just go up, and it's how weak are they? They're supposed to be bombers, and then one bomber
takes out the whole thing,
takes out the entire dreadnought. I thought a dreadnought was supposed to be armored, and
I guess
the whole ship just goes up. Ridiculous. So whatever. Again, it's a Star Wars movie, and then so Poe gets a scolding for being roguish and doing his own thing.
Kylo Ren shows up,
and then Kylo Ren shows up,
and he's conflicted about blowing up the ship with his mom. Admiral Akbar dies in that scene.
Well, no, we gotta talk about the scene between Snoke and Kylo Ren. The Kylo Ren, basically Snoke, like the whole idea of his mask was to be scary and intimidating, like his grandfather, and Snoke just basically tells him like, I don't like that mask. So what does he do? He smashes it. Like, it's so stupid.
Like, honestly, Kylo Ren was more imposing when he had the mask on. Because when I saw him, every time I see Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, I start to laugh because I saw that SNL skit where he's Matt the radar technician, and Kylo Ren is just like this whiny emo teenager who's somehow into power. He's got Force strength and all that. And like every time I see him, I just start to crack up.
It doesn't really feel like it's earned. It just feels like, oh well, he's my nephew, so I got to give him this job. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just like we saw in All the Money in the World. Oh, well, you're my son. You want to be executive vice president? Go ahead. He's like, well, Dad, all I know about oil is standard or premium. He's like, it's a job, isn't it? Sink or swim. So it's like Kylo Ren was like, oh, your grandfather was Darth Vader. Wow, we could certainly use you. I mean, it's like, that's why it feels weird that Kylo is. I mean, it's like Vader climbed his way up there.
Mm-hmm. Qui-Gon Jinn saw in young Anakin Skywalker's skill, but like
but again, Vader made his own deals. He joined the Emperor, and even though the Emperor was using him, still like he established himself in a way. Yeah, it just feels weird. But anyways, Kylo jumps in his TIE fighter. It gets a little, and he's gonna shoot his mom. He doesn't. But then the TIE fighter's next to him. Just shoot anyway. Like,
and they blow up the ship. Admiral Akbar
is gone. They blow up the bridge of the ship, and
Admiral Akbar is gone.
Admiral Akbar.
And I didn't even realize it until like after the movie. Like people were like, Admiral Akbar died. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like he just sort of just vanishes in the movie. Admiral fucking Akbar, who really doesn't have much of a role, but like he kind of just became like this
kind of fan favorite.
Yeah, fan favorite. Like trap.
It should have. So
and then he's gone.
We'll save him for later.
Yeah, we'll save him for later.
They could have resolved.
And then Princess Leia
uses the Force.
No, wait.
She gets sucked out of the. I assumed that she died. And again, in the theater,
it would have been like a sad
in the theater,
moment.
I was like, wow, they just killed off Princess Leia, and I was like,
this is kind of
just like that, They just like I thought, oh well. I said, well, I said we didn't even get to say goodbye to her. I was like, well, whatever. And I just sort of shrugged my shoulders. And the battle goes on, and finally we see her floating in space by herself. And I thought, oh, so this is kind of our moment where we get to
say goodbye to Carrie Fisher.
No, then we see her face. Then we see her hand. We're focused so much on her face. I was like, wait a minute. Why are they focused on this for so long? I'm like, they better not. And then I see the hand, and I'm like, they better not. Then her finger wiggles. I thought, you gotta be kidding me. And then she opens up her hand a little bit more, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And then she uses the Force.
She uses her
like
arm.
Mary Poppins. Through space to the bridge, and then knocks on the door, and then like
nobody else gets sucked out. Like
then they open the door, and she's like, "Come on in, you must be cold." And it's like
I lost it in the theater, laughing so hard.
No, I just my jaw just went like.
That was one of the dumbest. I'd rather have Jar Jar Binks stepping in poo than see something that stupid.
Well, all I did was I just took my hand and I just went like.
You're serious, right?
Like. You just like again. I completely took me out of the experience. Like Ridley Scott made a good point. He's like, I think like these kind of movies are really hard to do because they kind of take place in their own reality, and like, but if it's almost too ridiculous, because it's already ridiculous enough. Like, but if it gets too much, then it's like, okay, now I'm out of it. And then from there on, like the whole movie just felt.
That's when I really started.
And then there's a scene where Poe calls Maz. Remember the orange? Yeah. How did he never met? When did he meet Maz in Force Awakens? He never did. He never met. Remember, he was in his X-wing the whole time.
Unless she was like with them like in between movies. But this movie
takes place like a couple of days later. Like not even, because as soon as Rey shows up with the lightsaber, Luke throws it over his shoulder, and we better take a break from all the bullshit that happens in space between the Empire and the Rebels. I'm going to call them that right now. That's all it is.
The first.
All it is a chase between
a really slow-moving car chase with like where the First Order just only uses a couple ships. They should just deploy every fucking ship they have and annihilate the Resistance or the Rebels or just they're pretty much the same.
You know, the problem is they're like, well, if they jump to hyperspace, then apparently they can track that, and
oh god, that leads to like.
But that leaves so many plot holes now in all the previous movies.
Unless this is like a new tech. I think it's Rose said this is a
new technology that's never been. It doesn't really matter. It's just really stupid because now, you know, then so there's this Admiral Holdo decides to.
Before Admiral Holdo, the movie goes like it takes a breather from this thing. They like barely escape. Oh yeah, no, Leia does get put in, and then Admiral Moron gets in charge. Laura Dern, Dr. Sattler from Jurassic Park, and she's the worst character in this movie. I feel like
easily because all that happens is she just argues with Poe and how Poe's too brash. And
she's a hothead.
Poe's too Poe does take a lot of crazy risks, no doubt, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, this movie just does everything wrong. Like it makes her out to be smart and like calculating, and like the way she handles Poe is really stupid, and all of her decisions are crazy. She wants to put all the rebels at one point, it gets to a point in the film.
She never tells the
Here's
plan.
what we're gonna have to do for this review. We're gonna be talking all about the rebel that whole issue, and then we'll have to talk about.
That whole 40-minute detour.
Then we'll talk about Luke. We'll talk about Luke last.
Yeah, we'll save Luke for.
So here's what happens with Holdo. Like she eventually comes up with a plan that we'll put everybody on transports and just go that way. And then Poe's like, everybody's gonna die if we go on transport. Transports are just transports. They're not shielded. They're not anything. They're just like to go from space to planet. Mm-hmm. And she's almost like, we're gonna do that. And then. So Poe comes up with this crazy plan of disabling the Super Star Destroyer's tracking thing.
The really fucking huge.
So he calls Maz for some reason. Apparently she'll know, and she explains
to him, Finn and Rose. Oh, by the way, we gotta talk about the most useless character outside Rose.
Oh yeah, this is where she comes into play basically. So
Finn wakes up from his coma.
Because she takes
not even injured at all.
Again, he wakes up from the coma. He's gonna actually run and find Rey, and then Rose catches him, and then he tries to lie his way out of it. She doesn't fall for it because he sees his backpack. She tases him for being basically what do they call those guys?
Traitors?
No, not a traitor. People who abandon, just
whatever.
A deserter.
Yeah,
like he was going to be a deserter, and he was never really part of the resistance anyway. So like
he only kind of joins up at the very end.
Yeah, he didn't even told Han Solo, he's like, I'm only here to get Rey. Like, even, like he was ready to leave anyway, and, like, again, like, rather than stay and hold his crew, he really didn't have a fight in this movie, really, at this point. Like, I guess if they asked him, like, hey, now that you're awake, we want to talk to you about something, we could really use your help, there is none of that. Like, he just sort of sneaks his way off the ship, and,
he gets captured.
He gets caught.
And then
so Poe calls Maz, and Maz is all like, "Oh, you need to get the master decoder." And instead of just going to the casino planet, finding him I don't even know how they can make that vacation. It's like, how did the Empire not notice that they left to go? Like if they can track hyperdrive and all that nonsense, how come they didn't track that one? It's just really, really stupid. Like it would have been a lot better if they. Nothing makes sense because the Star Killer got destroyed in the last movie. They should have no resources left. I don't even understand how the First Order is still even like a thing at this point. But again, this movie's really stupid. So they go to the casino planet is such a waste of time.
Oh my god! And they
I will admit though, it is integrated into the movie just fine. Like it's almost like. About 7 minutes of footage here, 7 minutes of footage there, and they get captured because they park in front of the casino.
An illegal. Okay, so this corrupt planet with all these like people doing all these dealings with the First Order and then the Resistance. All these people doing all these like bad things. An illegal parking ticket is what gets them thrown in jail.
Yeah, and
an illegal parking ticket in Star Wars.
Then Benicio del Toro shows up.
Benicio del Porky Pig.
For some reason, his character stutters in this movie.
Stutters.
I don't know why. It doesn't make him any more interesting. But again, he stutters his way through the movie, literally, and
this whole casino plot is like a 40-minute detour.
They escape in a really, Star Wars kind of coincidental way. Whatever, it's fun. I don't really care about that. But then.
Oh yeah, wait.
So this, again, they get back to the supremacy, which is the Superstar Destroyer.
Okay, so here's the thing. This whole side plot was just to show, like, the only thing really significant thing I guess it shows is that, like, people profit during wartime. I'm like, okay. I mean, most people kind of figured that out already. And then to show animal cruelty, which, by the way, they free all these animals, but they don't free the enslaved children. Some heroes, huh? Like, I mean, those kids are like. They help the animals, but they don't help the poor children that are just locked up. I'm like, why don't you help the kids while you're there too? Maybe
I don't know what the kids are. Are they slaves or something?
Yeah, they're slaves. They're slave children. Like, why couldn't they just free them too? They let the animals all go. Exactly. Like
this movie is really stupid.
And then they end up getting on Supreme Leader Snoke's ship.
Oh yeah, just for the guy Benicio del Toro. I don't remember his name. DJ, that was his name.
DJ yeah. Jazzy Jeff.
All he does is he turns them over to the First Order and betrays them.
And then he just leaves the movie.
And then he just leaves.
If he's not going to be in the next movie, what was the point?
Finn and Rose are betrayed.
And in hindsight, because they got captured, like, the Empire destroys the ship anyway.
They do the same thing that they did in Rogue One. Finn dresses up as an officer. Just like Rogue One, it was cool seeing Felicity Jones go undercover as the Imperial engineer, and you can see her eyes through the helmet. Like that was, and then K2 is with them, and he goes, "I got a bad feeling," and the door closes, which is cute. And then of course Cassian is dressed up as an Imperial officer. But I would rather watch Rogue One any day of the week because they don't even get to say, "I got a bad feeling about this" in this movie. They don't even say it.
That I'm fine.
It's their gag line. Has to be done. They didn't do it. It's like having a James Bond without the gun barrel.
So never say never again.
Yes, this movie is the never say never again of the Star Wars franchise. Anyways, no, I wouldn't even say it. This movie sucks ass because the Force is already ruined because Leia, apparently you can die and just sort of float your way through. Like, what's the point of dying in Star Wars then? If you're just gonna
I got more to say about that when we get to the Luke and Rey.
Well, no, because apparently the Force can change any time. I had an argument with somebody. I said, well, then what's the big deal if you die then? Well, you become more powerful. I'm like, what about the Sith? Well, no, they actually die. Really? How do we know that? How do we know that Force Ghost Emperor isn't lurking around somewhere in the darkness? Like, I mean, how do I know? How do I know that in Episode 9 we're gonna have? There's been arguments already been made that. And we'll talk about that in a minute. There's so many things wrong with this movie. All we're doing is beating a dead horse. I hate this movie because it makes everybody out to be stupid, and Haldo decides then it would be a good idea to put everybody in the... And then, Poe decides to throw a mutiny and overthrow Haldo, and instead of them locking her up in the brig or something, no, they just have a mutiny and just take over. And Princess Leia wakes up from, being deprived of air for about a couple minutes.
Yeah, and, like, she's perfectly fine in absolute zero temperatures of space. I guess you could say she puts, like, a force shield on herself, but...
That didn't happen! It's bullshit! It sucks ass. And, again, she just wakes up and then shoots Poe, and he's out unconscious, and they look at each other, Haldo and Leia, like...
Haldo was stupid.
They look at each other all like, ooh, like we're best friends, and they hug and bye, and one thing, and then last minute Haldo goes, what I'm gonna do is, what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna turn the ship around and we're gonna hyperdrive through them, and it's like.
That should have been Admiral Akbar.
Why did number one? It should have been Admiral Akbar because that would have been awesome.
And then like maybe you can have Hux and they're like, oh, they're surrendering, and then they're just like, he's like, why are they like increasing their like. Thrusters to go. It's like, and then you can have Hux turn around.
They do realize what's going on.
Yeah,
because they're like, oh shit, they're like, fire, everybody shoot the ship. And I remember
it would have been cool if he was just like.
I'm not even kidding you. In one of the Star Wars Battlefront games, Battlefront 2, there's a mission, and like they're like, oh, it looks like they're gonna try and jump through us, and they're like destroy their engines before that can happen, and that's what.
I think it would be cool if, say, like Hux is in there, and then like as they're doing that, he turns around and yells, "It's a trap!" Like that would have been a kind of like that would have been like a really funny like fan servicey moment, but it also would have been.
You see, I'm all for
a fitting death for
a couple of moments. Okay, like Blade Runner 2049 did it so perfectly. Like they didn't keep referencing the original one. They only showed a couple of things that referenced the original Blade Runner. Mm-hmm. Just like when you see the Tyrell building, it's all blacked out. There's only 2 shots of that in the whole movie. Like I'm glad they didn't just keep referencing like and showing. Like they didn't keep like, oh, let's just do the same thing. Like again, so she jumps through them,
and it's a really cool
and
shot.
It's a really cool shot. But you know, people are retarded. I'm gonna say. Can I say that? I'm gonna say it. People are retarded because people thought that the movie broke because it got silent for 10 seconds. Like, are you kidding me?
Like I didn't think it broke. I thought it was just
like, no. As soon as it went like, ooh, and then it just like everything goes quiet, and it was just like everybody. I remember people in the theater were like, oh my god. Like people, people like applauded, like they're like that was cool. But there are people out there who actually think that the movie, like again, AMC theaters has to warn audiences, like, hey, there's a part where it gets quiet. The movie still works. It's like,
yeah, I had something malfunction one time when I saw "Don't Breathe." It was actually an error, like because there's a part where all the lights.
Well, because
go out
the movie
house,
takes place
because like it was a movie about like a blind person.
Well, the movie takes place in space, and so in reality you can't hear anything in space. So,
except explosions and star sounds, like the laser sounds. But whatever.
But whatever. They did this moment from a more scientific-y standpoint, and it's really cool and really effective. So from a creative standpoint, but I can't believe people are actually questioning that. You're going to question the sound, but you're not going to question all the character motivations, everything that they do. I mean, did you not take an English class? I mean, Jesus. Like I can't believe people are actually defending this movie. There are people out there who actually think this movie was good. If you like this movie and you enjoyed it, that's fine. But you can't sit there and say that, like, everything about them was wrong. Like, it got downright slapstick at one point. I mean,
we haven't even gotten to Luke Skywalker.
We'll get to Luke. We're saving Luke for the end because that's what drives the whole. That's where everything falls apart.
Like I left the theater so
the
upset.
Empire's crippled. Somehow, some way.
Oh, Captain Phasma shows back up again, and you think, oh, you're gonna finally do something. No, she dies like instantly.
No, Captain Phasma shows up to get Rey because
it's like, oh, thanks to you guys, we know your plans.
DJ Benicio del Toro turned Rey and Finn over, or not Rey. What am I saying? Rose. Excuse me, Rose and Finn to the Empire.
That whole thing could have been avoided.
And then guess who shows up?
Wait. That whole thing could have been avoided because they found out the plans via like DJ, Rose, and Finn, and all that. If Laura Dern would have just told Poe her plan from the get-go.
You know what could have been cool is if like her plan was like, we're gonna do this.
She should have just been someone to betray them.
It would have been a lot better if she was like, we're gonna hold out, guys, and then it was like, here's plan B in case things don't go right. And
just tell them the plan.
No, like plan A, we're gonna hold out and we're gonna just stay aboard the ship as long as we can. We're gonna get to the nearest planet. And plan B, so this is a situation where telling the audience would have actually helped. And then plan B, we're going to turn the ship around and somebody's going to stay behind and jump through hyperspace and we're going to blow them all up. While we do that, though, we're going to have to, like, while the ship is jumping, we're going to leave it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That way, and again, her plan is going awful because they're all in the transports and the Empire is shooting the transports down one by one anyway. So basically, almost everybody dies. So her plan was bad. Everything was a dumbass decision, and people have made a claim that the movie is actually about failure. In my opinion,
because it is a failure of a movie.
Well, that too, but to me, everybody makes really dumb decisions for no reason at all. Like, when Luke in Empire Strikes Back, he failed because he was like, oh, my friends, they need me, I gotta help them.
But he had a legit reason. He saw his friends dying, and they were captured, and he technically, like, does...
Technically speaking, he didn't even really have to show up because they all escaped on their own without him.
Exactly, but he couldn't get the vision, which, you know, goes into Luke's character in this movie, which is why it makes me even angrier thinking about that,
So Luke did fail, But he
But
had
he had a legit
but he
reason.
had a like Anakin, Obi-Wan, they failed in the prequels because, well, Obi-Wan failed Anakin. He didn't, understand what was happening. Or,
He didn't fail based on stupidity.
correct. He was just he overlooked, certain things. And this is just
Dumb.
downright ridiculous because Anakin, he had to keep it a secret with his having his wife, so Obi never really knew. He couldn't talk to him about, okay, so you're secretly married. Well, number one, because Anakin knew he'd be kicked out of the Jedi, so he couldn't tell Obi-Wan that he was married, and Obi-Wan couldn't tell him, like, hey, we understand you like your wife, but don't hold on to her, because if she dies, then you're going to turn to the dark side, whatever. But this movie is supposed to be about failure when everybody makes really stupid decisions. They didn't take the time to think about what it's awful. This movie is a joke. It gets laughable because all it is the Battle of Hoth at the end, and
But less cool.
so I think before we wrap up the whole thing, we better start talking about Luke.
Okay, well, then, that whole, Captain Phasma thing, she dies. So what was the point of building her
Well,
character?
do you know what's silly is that, when they're fighting on the big Star Destroyer, BB-8
Oh my god, I
gets
forgot
in an
about BB-8.
ATST. He gets in an ATST and
Starts blowing
shit up in an ATST. I didn't know. Then why even have?
pilots. Well, why even have people controlling them if you can just control them with droids?
It's so sick. It just got stupid.
Okay, so now let's get to
And
the
people
Luke and Rey
again are
stuff.
making claims that, well, this movie's a cartoon, it's for kids. That's what George Lucas said about the prequels. I mean,
I don't know what kids can keep up with taxation on trade routes.
so really, you're gonna say that? I mean, you're gonna say these movies are for babies? Okay. I mean,
but whatever. Let's get into Luke Skywalker.
let's get to the Luke Skywalker
and the Rey stuff. Oh,
I see. So I don't mind Luke being a hermit. That's fine.
if it was, here's my problem with the whole Luke Skywalker thing. Luke is not someone who runs out on his friends.
I don't think we need to really talk about all the details. Again, I think everybody's seen the movie at this point.
But I want to talk about this a bit. Luke is someone who doesn't run out of his friends. He's a Jedi. Jedis are supposed to be hopeful and optimistic. They're supposed to after what went down with Kylo Ren, which by the way, that scene, I literally wanted to throw my drink at the screen in anger. Because this is Luke Skywalker sneaking up and trying to attempt to murder his nephew.
First, the story, Luke tells Rey that, oh, well, I went in the middle of the night to read his mind, and then he woke up and, tried to kill me. And then, for some reason, Rey calls up Kylo. Apparently,
Snoke
Snoke
connected them somehow.
the two of them so they could talk to each other.
And they can physically...
Apparently, Snoke can do that.
Yeah, this is a new ability in the Force.
Whatever, but I don't even know why she'd even want to talk to him, because...
He killed Han Solo
Because
in front of her.
she watched him murder Han, and she's all like, why did you do that?
So they can make more Reylo fan fiction.
It doesn't make any sense. They sort of built up
It's
the
just so
romance
she can-
between Finn and Rey. And
And then-
now we're starting...
To get the Rey and Kylo stuff, which... That whole scene was just so she could see him shirtless, and then, be like, ooh... Ben Solo, ooh.
Put your towel on. It's just so dumb. But then again, the movie just...
So, okay, at the end of the Force Awakens, Luke Skywalker, the final shot of Force Awakens, I think is a great final shot, but at the same time, I was thinking at the end of that, we were okay, Luke, maybe, because it was Han Solo said that Luke went looking for the Jedi Temple, the first Jedi Temple. So what I thought was it was going to be Luke went looking for there as a way to, see, okay, maybe I need to tap into the origin of the Jedi religion as a whole, so that way I can find the right path to move forward. No, Luke just shut himself off from the Force, and
Han
just
Solo
takes
they did say in Force Awakens that after Kylo Ren destroyed everything Luke built,
I think Luke would have just taken.
He just quote walked away from everything.
I think if
That's what Han Solo said.
but he left for so long. If Luke left, took some time. I understand.
Mark Hamill said it best. He was like, if he was defeated or lost or whatever you want to call
Take
it,
maybe
depressed,
a year to regroup.
He's like, yeah, he said, take 6 months, a year to regroup or whatever. Yeah, he's gonna give up, but then oh, he can't. But then he goes to the original Jedi Temple to maybe, like you said, maybe he tries to find something, or maybe he discovers.
Maybe he just needs to retap into
in the trailers when he says it's time for the Jedi to end. I thought of it as a couple of lines. Maybe number one, Maybe he needs to establish like a new type of Force using ability. Maybe that's more powerful.
Maybe
than
something
Jedi.
other than a Jedi,
or maybe something that taps into both the dark side and the light, and kind of
like a great Jedi.
Yeah, maybe that's what Luke meant. Like, doing it the Jedi way, that doesn't quite work anymore. It's time to move on to this. Or I thought maybe it meant that like it's time for the Jedi, meaning that maybe like being on the island. Like, I would have liked Rey telling Luke like you need to face Kylo Ren. It's your destiny. No different than Obi-Wan telling him in Return of the Jedi, you must face Darth Vader again. And Luke saying, I can't kill my own father. And he goes, you can't escape it. You got to see him again. It would have been better if Rey was telling Luke, you got to face him, and then Luke could have said like, he's gonna kill me. I can't beat him. And maybe Rey was like, and then Luke says like, I don't know if I can turn him. And then maybe Rey, that's when Rey says, there's no way.
But
there's no way you can turn him. Do you want to know why, Luke? Why? Because Han Solo got killed by him. And that's another thing about this movie that sucks, is that when he discovers Han's gone, we just cut away. We don't even get to see how he reacts.
Chewbacca goes to the planet and just he's eating these disgusting pork creatures.
It's like Chewie didn't even get to hang out with Luke or reunite with him.
Yeah, like this movie frustrates me so much with how they handled Luke's character. Luke Skywalker. Let's go back to the other movies first. Well, the first movie was New Hope. Like he was kind of a whiny kid, but and he just wanted to go off on an adventure.
Yeah.
And then like his family, his Uncle Owen and Faru got murdered and charred, and their bodies were burning in front of him. Then he then he goes to Obi-Wan. He's like,
"There's nothing here from you more. I have to do this.
I have to do what's right."
And clearly he hates the Empire now because they killed his family.
Yeah, and then what happens in Empire? He has to go to Yoda to train.
Yeah, he's established though in the Rebels. He knows what he's doing. Just like that scene when he gets in the snowspeeder and he's like, "How you doing, Dak?" And he's like, "Ready to take on the whole Empire myself." He's like, "I know what you mean." So Luke is pretty much.
He's a hopeful character.
Well, he's pretty much skilled in terms of like in the Rebels. Like he's kind of a leader. Mm-hmm. He's telling everybody what to do when it comes to attacking the Walkers. But at least when you talk about the movie's really about failure, the Imperial Walkers just. We'll use a tow cable, but again, the Walkers are just too strong. Like it wasn't anybody's fault. Luke didn't get cocky or anything. All he said was, "Watch it." Hey, I lost my gunner. And they just lost the battle just because. I mean, the Walkers were just too tough. Like that was cool, and even Luke still manages to take down one of them in a really cool way. But again, and finally in Return of the Jedi, he's a badass. He's a Jedi.
And also, can we talk like the scene where like Luke the thing that irritates me, like he shuts himself off from the Force, he walks away from his friends. In Empire Strikes Back, he's supposed to be trained by Yoda. Like, no, you have to say. He's like, I can't get the vision out of my head. I have to go and help my friends.
Yeah, in this movie, he cut himself off from the Force, so he wouldn't get any vision.
Return of the Jedi, the most critical point in that movie of Luke's character, when he's just like. He's fighting his father, and then he cuts off his hand. The Emperor is like, good, turn to the dark side. Embrace the way of the Sith, not the Jedi. And then Luke looks at his hand, he sees, like, what the dark side leads him down. He's he takes the lightsaber, he throws it down, he's like, never. I'll never turn to the dark side.
I think a part
you failed, Your Highness. I'm a Jedi, like my father before me.
Yeah, we all saw the movie, Sean, but I think one thing you're forgetting is the mere fact that he turned himself over to Vader to try and turn him. Like, he didn't quit.
He wouldn't give up.
That's the whole point that you're trying to make is that he didn't quit. Even telling Leia, and even Leia was like, "He's your father. Why don't you just run away then?" And she's like, "Run away, far away. If you can feel his presence and leave, go, get away from here, And he's like, "I gotta try and turn him. I have to try. There's good in him." And she's like, "Why?" And he's like, There's good. I know there is." Then there is no good in him. So it would make sense for him to run.
No, he was still, like, at that point, he still hadn't turned. Like, he felt confliction in Solo, which is established in The Force Awakens, and it's also established in this movie.
He's extremely conflicted.
Which is why Luke would not honestly, sneak up and try and murder him. Why not get Leia? Why not get Han?
No, honestly, he shouldn't be conflicted anymore because he killed Han Solo.
That's true.
And then he thought his mom is dead. Mm-hmm. So he shouldn't be, all unstable anymore. There should be no conflict for Kylo. I thought killing Han would pretty much
change him completely, but no, he was still conflicted.
That's what I mean by all the arcs that were established in the last movie are completely thrown away. So it's just now it's like Ryan didn't even bother talking to J.J. Abrams. So again, Luke just literally rolls over And then he tells Rey he'll teach her 3 lessons. He only teaches her 2.
But before that, Rey's
But
trying to
he
get into, like, turn things over, and he's doing things on his planet, including getting fish and suckling on the nipples of a 4-titted alien.
Yeah.
That scene...
It's just funny, but again...
It was so disgusting, and then the thing looks at Rey, he's like, oh, you want a piece, Rey?
The problem is that... I mean, it's weird, okay, but the problem is Luke... It would have been a lot cooler if we could have seen Luke... Again, there's some cool stuff when he explains how the Jedi... You know, they're like, yeah, and it allowed Darth Sidious to take over, and Darth Vader. It's like, and then he became the most hated man in the galaxy, and then it's
But you turned him. Luke turned him.
But then, again, the issue shouldn't be talking about what he did before. It should be talking about what's happening now. And maybe Luke could be saying, like, I can't stop him. I can't stop Ben Solo. He's, again... Look, you made a good point about, like, oh, no, the conflict in Ben, there should be no conflict in Ben, because Ben is so crazy that Luke was like, oh, he's too crazy, I can't help him. I decided to run away because, you know, I felt guilty for bringing him into this lifestyle, and, you know, that's why I'm here, and I'm here by myself. You know, I came here to try and come up with something, but so far I haven't found anything. And that's when Rey could have been like, well, I think you need to come with us because we need your help. For what? And it's like, you need to face him. It's like, then that's when maybe they can argue, and there could be a scene where Rey's saying, you got to face him. And then maybe Luke could say, why? I mean, it's pointless. It's futile. And he could say something like Rey's like, maybe you have to try. And then maybe Luke could say, like, you're right, and I guess it's time for the Jedi to end because I'm going to die if I fight him. So maybe it should have been more about confronting your fears because maybe Luke is scared of Kylo Ren, or maybe it's something that Luke was like, you know, I don't want to do this again because I did it with my father, I got to do this shit again. And maybe that's what takes him out of it, again, where he could take 6 months to a year to regroup or whatever.
But no, at this point it's been several years since anyone's seen Luke. He shouldn't have been like...
When did he vanish? I mean, that's my question.
They make it seem like he vanished years ago.
They made it, yeah, I don't know, but it's weird because instead of, you know, having him actually be able to redeem himself from walking away and quitting and then returning, he literally never really does. And then we get, again, to the ending, the final battle on Crate Planet, which is a salt planet. Apparently it's not Hoth, it's white, but it's red.
Because of the salt, and then, you know...
Stupid. Anyways, you know...
Before that, one last thing, the Snoke scene where they kill him off.
Oh, well, again, yeah, so Rey does leave, and somehow she sneaks up... She
launched herself in one of those little pods onto the ship, and then Kylo Ren or whatever, like, takes her to Snoke. And Snoke is, like, ridiculously OP, just, like, throwing shit around, like...
Yeah, he takes the lightsaber, hits her in the head with it, and he's explaining how he can't be betrayed. He knows all, he sees all. And what does Kylo Ren do? He actually uses the Force...
To turn on a
lightsaber, sitting right next to the
kills
guy.
Supreme Leader Snoke.
Cuts him right in half like butter.
Which makes me wonder... Why even, like, wield a lightsaber as a Jedi? Why not just use the Force, turn it on, and just, you know, battle people from a distance or something?
It's so stupid. So then Snoke...
Why couldn't they do that before? Why couldn't, like, when,
He had no...
Why wouldn't... Well, how about, like, the Emperor is just like, you want this? Maybe Luke's talking to him, he uses the Force, stabs the Emperor, done.
Again, they're ripping off the throne room scene from Return of the Jedi. So, again, it's, you know, rehashing old scenes and just sticking them together. And so after that, the red
guardsmen,
whatever people call them, the Praetorian guards, whatever. People were saying, "Well, those are the Knights of Ren."
I don't know what they are.
Really?
They never said their names.
Because in the flashback sequence,
but Marlon, in this comic book, which issue 15 of a tie-in series to the
you mean a byproduct of the series, yes. See, the problem is that I don't know all that shit. I don't need to know it. The only thing that matters is the movies. Again, there's expansive stuff out there. You want to get into it, but in reality, and somebody told me, oh well, Luke has always had trouble with the dark side. Luke never turned to the dark side. He was
conflicted, and then he fully embraced the light.
He was never conflicted.
In
Empire, he's just angry and frustrated.
Return of the Jedi, he almost turns.
He almost turns because Vader finally touched a nerve.
That's what I meant. Like
but he was never sitting there wondering, do I really want to? Should I?
Because the Emperor's trying to turn him.
Luke's biggest fear was actually turning to the dark side.
That's what I mean. Like, that's his biggest fear.
But he was never like, I'm thinking about doing it. So he never had trouble with it. He was never like, I'm trying to, I'm thinking about doing cocaine. No, there's like, there's people who have a drug problem who are trying to kick the habit. And there's people who are like, oh, I'm just afraid of getting involved in that. Luke never had a problem with the dark side, and well, actually, he did. If you read the book or what bullshit in the films, I don't see a problem. Don't bring up the shit in Dagobah when he cuts off Vader's the imagination of Vader in the cave. That that was basically saying he's gonna turn. No, the point is that if he strikes Vader down in anger and hatred, then he's gonna turn. Because in Empire, Vader is toying with him, and then he says, "You've controlled your fear. Now release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me." Meaning, tap into your aggressions. All the shit Yoda's telling him, like anger, aggression. Those are what allow you to tap into the dark side. Those things, and Luke says, "Is the dark side stronger?" And Yoda says, "No, it's more efficient. It's faster, quicker. It gets things done. It gets you to your goal." That's why he was ready. He tapped into anger and aggression, just like when Vader says, "Oh, perhaps your sister will turn to the dark side. Maybe I can get her." That's what makes Luke snap and say, "Never!" And then he taps into that aggression. But he never actually fully turns, and his eyes don't go yellow. He doesn't know, like, yeah, I'm bad now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like Anakin, who was like, I'm just going to embrace my frustration, and I'm just going to turn, and I'm just going to do it. Anakin has always had a problem with authority. None of this shit makes any sense anymore, because Luke never... There was no dark side. Luke maybe turned to the dark side or anything. Rey never was going to turn to the dark side in this movie.
So, which would honestly...
All Kylo does is ask her, no different than Vader did in Empire Strikes Back.
Honestly...
Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy.
I would have rather had that be the big reveal in the
That
movie.
would have been actually pretty awesome if Rey actually
If Rey joined Kylo
it.
Ren, and those two, because Kylo was just like,
Do you know
it all
what
has
interesting?
to end. The Sith has to end, the Jedi has to end, First Order, let's just...
Do you know what would have been interesting if she did join him, but didn't turn to the dark side? Like she joined him, like, all right, I'll hang out with you.
Maybe because they're both kind of mixed on it. Maybe that's why they're talking about how they both arose in the Force at the same time. The movie's all about balance. Like he's more on the dark side, she's more on the light side, and they're supposed to be the balancing factor of both light and dark in the Force. Like he's like the yin and yang.
Yeah, but again, they don't need to be together. They don't need to be in love. Okay, this whole idea of Reylo is bullshit. But again, nothing makes sense because somehow she gets the final battle on the planet. Everybody escapes the Star Destroyer after Phasma eats it in a really stupid way. Finn calls her Chrome Dome, hits her in the face. Her armor's cracked. We only see her eye, and then she falls into. How do we know that? Remember, she fell in the trash compactor last movie. Never knew how she got out. This movie, guess what? She fell into a thing of fire.
If Leia can survive the absolute zero temperatures of space, Captain Phasma should be perfect. At least, you know what? I'll give her credit this. Her armor could at least deflect bullets, which has always been a big pet peeve of mine with the Stormtrooper outfits. People shoot on them, they get hit once, they're done. What's the point of wearing all that useless heavy armor?
But, again, it's retarded. The whole thing is stupid. Again, Phasma will probably come back in a really silly way. She'll just walk up and be like, "Hey, guys." I mean... I don't know what else I could possibly say about this thing, but then finally the ending battle is so silly.
Shoot that piece of junk out of the sky.
It gets comical when Kylo's screaming at them. He's the new Supreme Leader, Kylo Ren, and
they shit out of Hux again, which is funny.
Oh yeah, Hux. They get into they use useless old speeders against the AT-ATs, and guess what? You think that it's a ripoff of Empire. It's not, because the new AT-ATs, or whatever the hell they're calling them, they're bigger than a regular AT-AT. So they have an extra gun on the top of them. So they're all. Then the TIE fighters show up and start botching that plan.
And then Finn tries to make the big sacrifice.
The Millennium Falcon shows up. Apparently Rey got it. I don't even know when she escaped, but she got into the Falcon with Chewie. They showed up. She's in the gunner. It's fun. How is she a Jedi? She didn't get any training from Luke. And she's even dressed like a Jedi, after the scene.
We don't even have a lightsaber battle in this
There
movie.
is no lightsaber duel. They
use the lightsabers.
They use lightsabers against the Royal Guards, because that's what they are. They're red, whatever. They fight them, whatever, and then so finally, Finn is actually about to sacrifice himself and blow up this big laser.
Since his role in this movie has been completely useless.
Finally, he has another arc that he's actually going to sacrifice himself,
to
not only stand up for himself and stand his ground in a fight instead of running the whole time. He says, "I'm going to stand my ground." Now he's going to sacrifice himself, and it's like, wow, this movie's got some heart. You know, maybe Rey will cry and realize, oh no, Finn's gone. You know.
Something.
No, Rose shows up.
She knocks him out.
Smashes his ship. I don't know how they both survive that. And then she kisses him and tells him, like, oh, it's not about being the ones you hate. It's about saving the ones you love. But her sister, in the beginning of the movie, dropped all those bombs on the Dreadnought. So, again, contradiction. This movie just contradicts itself all the time.
And what was with that? It's so out of nowhere. Like, I think John
One more
Boyega...
thing we got to get out of the way. There's a scene when they leave Luke, Rey, and
oh, the Yoda
the
scene.
Yoda scene. Yoda shows up, acts like drunk Yoda, funny, silly Yoda,
and he blows up the thing with his super lightning powers.
And then he lightnings. How? Again, this is
why not do that before?
People are making claims that would it be cool if these people who have died, who have become one with the Force, start battling each other? Now what's the point of dying then? Then Darth Vader's going to come back, and apparently.
No, Hayden Christensen. Remember, the special editions are canon.
Dude, that's what they're gonna do. Like, you see, this is
what would have been
cool.
Really Obi-Wan should have shown up there. Like, the director's explanation was, Mark Hamill never interacted with the Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan. Put him in old man makeup. That's all you have to do. It would have been. I actually would have thought that would have been kind of cool.
I don't know. The Yoda scene, he looked weird. I don't know. In my opinion, he looked weird.
It was like CGI layer on top of like a plastic puppet.
He looked like a plastic doll. Anyway, it looked weird. In my opinion, it didn't look like puppet Yoda from Empire Strikes Back.
And Yoda uses Force powers to blow up the Jedi temple.
Shoots lightning like he's God or something.
And I'm thinking,
Jesus Christ!
Why not do that? Why not do that at any other time?
All the. Like, okay, it was already a stretch enough in the prequels when Anakin is doing these ridiculous flips and all that crap, you know, all the crazy Force jumps.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bit much. But my God, like, I think it's a bit much using the Force to turn on a lightsaber. I'm pretty sure, like, Luke asked Obi-Wan in the original Star Wars about, like, oh, so, you know, you can control objects? And he goes, well, no. He said, you obey your commands, you know.
It's just...
I don't know what more I could say about the Last Jedi.
So, like, Luke Skywalker...
Oh, yeah, the ending. Finally. Luke shows, because they're like, all hope is lost, and Luke comes into the door.
Because Leia sent out a thing
and Luke looks like Billy Mays, and my God, he shows up, and...
He's looking badass, I'm like, okay.
You know, and then he winks at C-3PO, and it's really cool. And then he walks out, and then I was like... And then Kylo Ren goes... I thought Kylo Ren was going to say, like, wait, leave him for me. I must face him. No different than, remember when Tarkin and Vader are talking? And Vader's like, he's here. Obi-Wan, are you sure? He's like, I must face him alone. And, like, Vader didn't need any backup. Kylo Ren, like a coward, says, everybody shoot him.
And
so they all start, and then the first shot, in the theater, I started laughing. Nobody was laughing, because... I thought either they did kill him off right there, or something stupid's gonna happen, and then they're just going, just every weapon going, and then Hux goes, "That's enough! That's enough!" And again, they're screaming at each other.
Kylo Ren chucks him and throws him.
And then like Luke steps out, does this.
And I'm like, that was pretty badass. He turns on his lightsaber. I'm like,
and
blue,
then Kylo Ren picks up Hux. And throws him against the wall like a rag doll. And again, that's when I lost it in the theater. And then Kylo Ren comes down.
Luke turns on his lightsaber, which is blue.
Which
makes no sense.
My instant question was, what the hell?
You just destroyed that lightsaber.
Didn't Rey and Kylo Ren just destroy that?
It should have been green.
Yeah, it should have been green, right? So even...
I like the green one.
So
it looks cooler.
It turns out this is a Force projection. Luke is meditating on the island.
And I'm thinking, oh, he just used that as a distraction. He's going to join him up for the next movie.
Who taught him that? Maybe Yoda taught him that.
Well, maybe it was part of those powers.
Well, yeah, maybe Yoda was like, hey, you know what? I could strike lightning. Well, guess what? I can show you how to do this.
Which begs more plot holes. Like, why couldn't the Jedi use this ability, like, before?
I guess Yoda learned this in the afterlife. Apparently, he came
I don't
down
know.
from
We
heaven.
don't know how he's able to do this.
Well, you know what? I guess when Jesus comes back to life in the second coming, he can show us how to turn water into wine, and then he can show us how to fly. Because, you know, we don't know how to do that. You know, this is why this is getting stupid. It's just getting downright. It's becoming a joke.
The worst thing to ever happen.
So then Kylo and Rey, and you think that they're gonna fight, right? No, there's no kendo in this movie. There's no the Japanese samurai art of sword fighting. There's hardly any kendo. Luke, like the Matrix, dodges the blade, and then Kylo realizes he's not really there, stabs him, and then Luke goes, "See you around, kid," and then it disappears, and Kylo's all like, "No!"
And then he goes to pick up some dice, which Luke has been force projecting.
Those are the dice that Han Solo from the Millennium Falcon. He put it in Leia's hands.
You know what I'm thinking? Those are going to be a part of the Han Solo movie because I don't recall those being.
They are in A New Hope.
Okay.
They are. They're just not. I don't think I saw.
I don't think they really had a plot to them.
No,
really.
they're just the dice. They're decoration.
Okay. See, I can't remember that. But anyways,
they're in A New Hope.
All right. So, but Luke. This is like the part where I flipped out. I'm thinking, okay, so he did that, and he's going to join up with them.
It's a beautiful shot of Luke sitting there on the rock, looking at. Apparently, there's binary suns on that planet.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, it mirrors what happens, and then Luke just fades away and dies.
I thought Tatooine was the only planet that had the binary suns. That's just me.
Lost my shit. So angry. I'm like, that's bullshit. I flipped off the screen.
I don't mind Luke dying in the movie
if it was honorable. If it was like, this is Luke Skywalker.
Okay, but I gotta say one thing. Mark Hamill, though,
acting wise, was fantastic.
He almost sold me on it. Like I was in it. I was very much like, yes, like this. This is really cool. I'm really in this. You know, this is really cool. You know, this is really this is good stuff. Like he almost had me convinced. And when that was happening at the end, totally out of the experience. Just no.
And then I was like. I was so upset. I was so disappointed because this is Luke Skywalker.
And then the movie just basically ends.
Let me say something really quick.
Let's finish up the movie first. The movie pretty much the rebels escape in the Millennium
Leia's
Falcon.
fine.
Leia's fine. There's only 12 of them left, and
they sent out a message.
And then they're all like, "Well, you know what? If they can kill off Luke in that way, and they can kill off Han the other, I mean, at least Han's death wasn't terrible. Luke's death was just. Let's finish out. Leia is going to die in the opening crawl. It's going to say like." A few years have passed since Luke Skywalker passing. Princess Leia has died of a heart attack.
I have no one left. The only one I have left is Chewbacca, but thanks to the holiday special, I hate Wookiees. R2-D2 just vanishes at some point in this movie. C-3PO is just annoying. The only character I have left is Lando Calrissian, who hasn't even been mentioned or shown up.
Oh, he won't be in the next movie.
If Lando better show up and be the main hero for everything. Luke Skywalker. Let me talk about Luke Skywalker's death for a minute. Let me go off on this one.
It's not his movie, but at the same time, why do they make him such a pivotal part of the story?
Luke Skywalker is one of the greatest heroes in cinema history.
I understand that.
We followed him over the course of one of the most iconic.
The new movies are about the new characters.
I know that, but at least
right.
But Luke didn't have he deserved like the greatest death scene in history. Look at Hugh Jackman in Logan. That was an epic death. There's Caesar in Planet of the Apes this past year. Epic death. Like, Caesar's journey was complete. He got the apes to safety. Logan got
Luke
the kids.
just sort of croaks.
Luke just sort of fades away. I'm like, what? We've been waiting like 30 plus years.
Look, people have made the argument that that's what Yoda and Obi-Wan did. Good point. At the same time, it would have been a lot better if Luke went out there, had a
Obi-Wan
fight.
At least died at the hands of Vader. Yoda died of just old age. Like, Yoda was fucking old. Luke Skywalker was cowering away to planet. They showed his X-Wing in the water, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to get in that thing, kick some ass.
I thought he would have showed up.
It would have been
Remember when Finn was about to crash into the laser?
If that was Luke who showed up and, like,
I thought it was going to be Luke who shot the laser and then, like, flew away.
That would have been awesome, but no, we don't get that at all. It's bullshit. Like, Luke Skywalker...
Luke shows up, shoots the laser with proton torpedoes, and like that was like a barrel roll. And then he
just like it'd be cool if he just did like the little like wave to
somebody, I don't know. But then he lands, and then he gets out, and then they fight. But no, like they would have been cool is if like kind of like in Parts of the Caribbean. Remember how there's both ships, and the two ships are in the whirlpool having a fight.
World's End.
Yeah, that should have been like There should have been a lightsaber duel. Everybody could have been like, wait, put your guns down. Remember in the original Star Wars when the stormtroopers in the hangar look at each other and then they do this? They kind of like do that and they all run over and they see Obi-Wan and Vader having that fight. They don't get involved in the fight. They're just watching in awe. That's what should have happened. Luke and Kylo Ren should have met in the middle of the battle. Everybody stops to watch the two of them have their duel. And it would have been amazing. That's where the kendo and samurai films and all that kind of shit.
I would have loved a lightsaber, but then again, Kylo Ren got his ass kicked.
People made a claim like, "What did you expect a lightsaber to? What did you want? Mark Hamill doing flips and like, no, just have him do something. Just do, he didn't really."
Hey, we saw Christopher Lee doing lightsaber battles in episode 2 and 3.
They could have easily done something with. They didn't have to do any CGI. They could have just had hands, wrists, something just easy between the two of them fighting. And Mark Hamill said he had to get in shape for this movie. He didn't get in shape for anything. He hardly did anything. Like, people were saying, like, oh, what did you expect, a lightsaber duel? Well, it is Star Wars. I expect spaceships, aliens, space, and lightsabers.
The only one I could have accepted most was Rogue One, but then again, like, we had that great scene where Vader
Rogue One was about the Empire and the Rebels. I mean...
And that wasn't really about the Jedi. Like, the only lightsaber bit we had was Vader gutting down that
It's
whole
funny
entire
how
hallway.
it seemed like the Force was actually more majestic in Rogue One than this movie. Remember what was it, Chariot? Or he was like, I won with the Force, and the Force is with me. That felt... That gave the movie heart, at least. This movie, in my opinion, had no heart. And even when they all find out that Luke died, they're all like, oh, guess what? What? Luke's gone. They're like, oh, that sucks.
God, it's like one of my favorite movie heroes of all time.
In my opinion,
just went out like
this movie... You want to say the prequels are bad? Yeah. Phantom Menace doesn't add anything really new.
The only good thing about
the Midichlorians, yeah, that's stupid. Okay. Episode 2, yeah, there's the love story. Okay, but at least something. Episode 3, I think it's pretty darn good.
You have Palpatine, which I love Palpatine.
This movie, in my opinion, ruins as much as you want to bitch and complain about Force Awakens, this movie is worse than that. If you want to say the Force Awakens is bad or whatever, fine, whatever. For Force Awakens, I think is solid.
It's fine.
For being a retro movie or whatever it is, or a soft reboot, this movie. Again, Last Jedi is still watchable, but it does everything wrong. It's like, my God, it becomes a joke.
It's just such a shame what happens.
Luke is the biggest atrocity.
Just what they did to Luke Skywalker was unforgivable. Like, Luke is one of my favorite heroes.
This would have been
history.
fine in fan fiction, but
Luke is one of my favorite
heroes.
It's not
even
a good film.
History.
He deserves so much more. Like, he just fades away. I'm like, really? You couldn't give him like a huge honorable. If Luke,
this is just Rian Johnson. I swear to God, they better cancel his new trilogy.
I don't.
Oh yeah, at the end of the movie, there's those kids on the casino planet. He uses the Force all by himself, which is like.
No.
And again, people make a point that, like, why does it have to be connected to the Skywalker family? Well,
the race parents thing too we didn't mention.
Well, yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit because they made it out to be like she was somebody and now she's literally nothing.
That could just be a lie, but like even then.
Okay, it is a good idea. It's an idea that's interesting. But I thought when they asked Disney how come there's no opening crawl in Rogue One, they made 2 points. Well, number one, this is an anthology movie.
Yeah, anthology.
And number 2, it's not a part of the Skywalker family space opera. Well, then, how come Rey isn't a part of the Skywalker family then? Or, I mean, you know what I mean? Maybe she could marry somebody? I don't know. To me, maybe there could be another... I mean, I don't know. I mean, if anything, they should establish that with Finn, that he's nobody. Because Finn literally is nobody. Finn is a stormtrooper.
We're going to find out in the next movie that he's Lando's son. You watch. If they show Lando.
That would be so racist. But like, the Finn is literally nobody. He's a stormtrooper. If anybody who should say the Force is with somebody, it's with him. Mm-hmm. So this is why this movie's so stupid. That the points they make are contradicted by other things, and things they should be saying they're not.
Yeah, I just left that theater, like, I just felt like it took me a while to really, like,
just as the movie went on, like it just like it stayed in my head more and more. I just felt more and more like upset and disappointed because like just thinking like, wow, all these years we've been waiting for Luke Skywalker, like one of the greatest heroes in cinema history, and he just goes out like a bitch. Like he just fades away, and I was just thinking about like, wow, like Luke Skywalker.
He literally phoned it in.
He phoned it in. Like he didn't even show up. Like what's the point of showing his
Skyped
X-wing
it
in
in.
the water?
He's like, oh, this, yeah, it would have been a lot cooler if he got in his X-wing. Used the
That's
Force.
why I thought they showed it earlier. Like otherwise, what was the point of?
Just that he put
Had
his shit
it
there.
like if you're not gonna you're teasing it like he's gonna do something with it and like you do nothing with
The
it.
Millennium Falcon loses its radar dish again in this movie.
I'm just upset because
So again, they're just repeating. They're repeating. Was it necessary for the Falcon to go in those like crevices?
no, not really. And I don't know how the hell you do not crash that thing in those like you know
I remember how much trouble Lando had in the Death Star when he was like stay tight, we can run out of space real fast. That's what Wedge says, and then he almost hits the thing. He hits the top of the ship. He's like, that was really close. Like it's established that that they don't really use the fall. Now you could say, well, what about in Empire Strikes Back when they go to the asteroid field? Yeah, there was another character doing it, and it was in space, and Han was like taking a lot of major risks, but this movie, it seemed like it was more of a tighter space. You know what I mean? Like, they went inside the Star Destroyer in the last one. Alright, that was cool. But this one, going inside those, like, crevices or whatever, what was the point? Like, they went in there to evade the TIE fighters.
and just
It's not like there's another 1,000 more of them waiting outside for you. Like, the whole point of them going inside of the asteroid field is so the fighters would crash and they could escape. This movie, there's AT-ATs waiting outside. Like, what is she evading? Like,
yeah, she just
and
blown
again,
them
they
up.
land
She should have just
behind-
gotten behind them and just blown them all up.
everything is. I don't know what's. I mean, I don't know how.
I don't know how JJ's
How
gonna fix
J.J.
this.
Abrams? How is he gonna
You know
write
what?
his way out of this one? Or are
I-
they just gonna ignore everything that happened?
Well, Disney's just been firing directors for Star Wars. They except
They
Ryan
didn't-
Johnson,
they
they
didn't
just
fire him.
they didn't reel him in like they did like Gareth Edwards or the Lego Movie directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller were like 70% done shooting the Han Solo movie. And they fired him and
There was
reshot
going
like
to
the
be a
whole
third
movie.
director, and even Mark Hamill said he didn't talk with the third director a little bit
Yeah,
about
Colin Trevorrow.
about Luke being in the next one, in Episode 9.
JJ should just retcon like everything in this, like just retcon Luke dying or whatever. Just say, oh no, Luke's alive. He's perfectly.
What did
fine.
Leia even really do in this movie anyway, other than
If Luke is a Force ghost, I'm just gonna be pissed. Like really, you just it's not right. Luke deserved like the greatest death scene ever. This is a character. This is one
how
of those,
can he come back as a Force ghost? What did he do that was so brave?
He just faded away. Like
And then Poe's all like, "Oh, he's distracting us."
he
Or
could've done
distracting
something
them
else.
to.
You know what would have been better? Either Luke comes in the X-wing, or when Leia sent out that signal, Lando Calrissian shows up. You don't know who it is. You see a ship coming and blowing things and getting everybody to safety. Maybe like that ship with Luke, and then like they don't know who it is. The ship lands and then it opens up and they're looking and then it's Lando standing there and you just be like, ha ha, hey.
Lando, I feel like Lando, we're never gonna see him again, because remember when like Princess Leia called everybody in the galaxy to come get them? Nobody came.
Exactly. That's why I was hoping like maybe Lando heard the signal.
Oh,
like,
maybe him and his like establishment.
That's when he comes back for 9.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
That's the only thing I can hope for.
I highly doubt we're gonna see Lando in this next movie.
I
That would
fucking
be
love
shocking.
Lando though. Like he was.
I would be surprised because.
But then
Disney's
again, at
made-
the same time, like maybe I don't want to see him because they'll fuck him up too.
they will.
They will.
This movie was just. I think it's
It's the most frustrating Star Wars.
the most frustrating one.
Because I was too young to really be disappointed by Phantom Menace. Like in hindsight, it's like not very good. But at
No,
least
it's not. But I could watch Phantom Menace.
yeah, like
Or
at this point, I'm like I get bored during 1 and 2. But like 3, like there's some dull moments, but at least have the Emperor and stuff.
One,
But like
I think. I mean, in terms of like what the message they were sending, I think that's the biggest problem. Is what are they telling the audience? What they're telling the audience is Luke is being clever, but in a really stupid way. Like that's not how warriors go out. Like I mean,
if they would have just, I'm fine with them killing Luke Skywalker if he died in the most honorable warrior death you can think of. You know what I mean? Like he made his final
samurais,
stand.
Jedi, sacrifice is a big part of what they do.
But he
and
just faded away. He didn't even show up for the battle.
No,
Like,
he didn't.
he just fades away. I'm like, that's pathetic.
He did it in the biggest cheat he could have possibly done. He showed up invincible and untouchable, and then he realizes that, well, I pretty much sent all my energy there. Now it's time for me to go. I'm out. See ya. And he just earned his free ticket to lightning force using heaven. Like, it's just
so stupid.
What's he got? Is there gonna be a scene where Hayden Christensen and Mark Hamill talk, or like?
I just thought of that. That'd be pretty funny.
Well, what's gonna happen in the next one? I mean,
I don't know
what could they possibly do?
The only big threat is Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren just...
If they rebuild Starkiller Base in Episode 9...
Because we're still gonna see it regardless, because we've already seen all the other movies.
Well, no,
I'm just so upset. Like this.
This is. I think it's made the least amount of money than the other two, Force Awakens and Rogue One. Rogue One made $1 billion.
Well, it's still in theaters, but like, and it's still got like, it's like $100 and something million behind Rogue One in terms of domestic, and like this movie had like a huge drop off in its second weekend. Like,
I don't want to see it again.
Yeah, I'll wait for.
I'm not gonna go see it again.
I'll wait for home video, but
I'm not gonna even buy like Force Awakens. I bought it on Blu-ray when it came out. I also bought Rogue One when it came out. This one, I'm gonna wait till it's on sale.
Yeah, I still gotta get Rogue One. It's on Netflix. So I haven't bothered to bought it to purchase it.
Oh no, I bought it. I mean, it's
I liked Rogue One. Like, it's cool. I love director Krennic. Like, he's hilarious.
He's a better villain than Snoke.
He's a better villain than Snoke. He's a better
Snoke's
villain
in
than
2
Kylo
movies.
Ren.
Yeah, Snoke is definitely a better villain than Kylo Ren. People say that Kylo Ren was more compelling in this movie.
I never found Kylo Ren compelling at all. I can't take him seriously.
I mean, he's cool.
He's a joke. Like, Kylo Ren is hilarious. Like, him and Hux on screen brings me joy, but for a different reason, because it's unintentionally funny.
Well,
like,
Kylo Ren, I think, was a little bit more... He got a little bit more compelling when he killed his own father, but then this movie... Yeah, it's just downright slapstick.
Yeah, like, so... I don't know what else to say. We've talked about this for, like, how long is this going on? An hour and 16 minutes. So
you have to cut down a lot of stuff.
No, I'm just going to leave it all as
No, nobody's going to watch this.
It's all there.
Nobody's going to watch this, Sean.
It's too late now. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Merlin, thanks for talking The Last Jedi. That's why this is like the end of the year video, because we had a lot to say about The Last Jedi. This is just unadulterated fun. So, yep, not much else to say, but...
Thanks for ruining Star Wars, Disney.
Yeah, thanks for just, fucking all up Disney.
No, because when the prequels came out, I didn't feel like the Star Wars was ruined. Like, Episode 1, my problem was that it was cool, but what does it have to do with Episodes 4, 5, 6? And then I saw Episode 2, and I said, okay, now I can see the connection, but Episode 2, I didn't like it as much as the last one. It was kind of weird. Episode 1 was kind of weird. Episode 3, I thought, okay, that redeemed everything. Like, that brought everything full circle. That was amazing.
Yep.
Force Awakens, I was like, that was really cool. I didn't like the Star Killer. I liked the name. I thought it was stupid. They should have used a different machine. Yeah, they borrowed too much from Episode 4 original New Hope. Yeah, they got elements of Empire in there. The next one, they'll do something original. Rogue One, I thought that was
the one I liked.
That was the one I loved. That again, even Force Awakens though, that time, I'm nostalgic about something that happened 2 years ago. That was fun. Like Star Wars was back. Now it feels like, and again, Rogue One was kind of, yeah, that one was okay, or it was, I loved it. And
Star Wars is no longer like...
Rogue One was definitely a subjective movie where you either really loved it and dug it, or you're like, I'm a Force Awakens kind of person. These anthology movies, I don't know. I like the anthology movies. I hope the Han Solo movie is going to be good. Maybe it'll be like a Western space kind of movie. I really hope they kind of do something unique with it. There's supposed to be a Boba Fett movie, I guess. I
don't know.
The Obi-Wan movie is, I don't know.
Because, like, what is he going to do? Just stay on the planet for 30 years?
I don't know. I don't know what Obi-Wan's going to do, but I would really love a Boba Fett. They should do a Boba Fett movie, not an Obi-Wan movie. But again, this one, I feel like took all the fun out of everything. Like, all the energy of Star Wars, just, the vacuum just sucked all out. Like, they took all the fun out of it. For some reason, it feels like it's not fun anymore. Like, this movie took all the fun right out of it. It's not even because the movie has to be dark, or it was a little bit darker, but it's just because everything it said was like, oh, forget everything we told you before, this is how it is now. Just, come on, like, what are they, superheroes? Lightning? Are you kidding me? What's the point of everybody dying then? Like, it's almost this is a joke. Well, it's a cartoon. I thought it was a space opera.
Fantasy. It's just.
I thought it was a fantasy space opera, not a cartoon. Now it's a cartoon. Give me a break. Anybody that argues this is a cartoon is stupid. Oh, this is a cartoon, man. This is for 10-year-olds. Really?
Well, I think that's we've said
And all
enough.
the fans will just defend this as much as they can. They'll be like,
No. Believe me, there's a huge divide amongst.
they're
the
wrong.
fans.
They're wrong.
No. There's like fans who are passionately shitting on this movie.
No.
It's a very mixed movie.
People who defend this movie, they're gonna realize someday that
This
wow,
is
I
the
defended
Phantom Menace effect. It's gonna be the Phantom
There are
Menace effect
people out
all
there.
over again.
There are people out there who
You
defended
wait-
the Phantom Menace. Like, well, you're just not understanding it.
And then like it took them some time.
And they realize, yeah, it sucks the big one.
That's,
Rose is the new Jar Jar Binks. People have been saying that. Not just me.
I don't know. It's just.
Thanks, Disney. You completely ruined Luke. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for fucking ruining Luke Skywalker. I just love those interviews with Mark Hamill. Now he's come on to say like, oh no, I really like the movie and stuff. But like, I just see in his eyes that like, no, he even said I fundamentally disagree with everything you've done with this character. I know he's come back and said I regret voicing my opinions in public about the movie. He's like, oh, it's still a great movie, but like, I just have this feeling that he knows like no, it wasn't the right direction.
He made a good point. He said it's just a movie at the end of the day. I hope everybody likes it.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is just a movie.
It is just a movie. But again, there's a huge following and legacy that comes along with it. And
They just
for
screwed
people
it
to
up.
blindly just follow this and be like, no, this is actually really sweet. It put a really cool twist on things. You're just making excuses for this because you want all of them to work.
Yeah, that's another deal. So, anyways, I think we've said enough. I want to thank you all for watching this video. Marlon, thank you for joining me and going off on The Last Jedi. I hope you guys enjoyed watching all of this. And, yeah, talk to you all later. May the Force be with you. Fuckers.